So I decided to come out and look for some mushrooms, and I'm looking for hen of the woods because I found some in the spring that were left over from last year, so they were no good. They come in the fall, but obviously seeing ones that had been here made me think they'll be here again. And so I came a couple weeks ago and there wasn't anything, but decided to come now that we've had some rain. Everything's been so dry, I thought maybe the rain would get them to pop. And I've been starting to see giant puffballs. They're just not big yet. And then I've been looking for the hen of the woods, which for that you want to look near mature oaks. And so I've been looking, and especially near the trees where I know they were last year, and hadn't particularly been seeing them. And then right here, there's this low patch, and everything was greener. So I thought close to this, things might be wetter. There might be higher odds of mushrooms having sprouted. And so I was checking back here, and as I'm going, oop, what is that? All of a sudden just see bright orange. Chicken of the woods is what that is, which I am also happy to find. And so for both of those, you're looking for oak trees. But let's go take a look. Okay, so here we have a really nice patch of chicken in the woods. And what differentiates chicken in the woods and hen in the woods is, first off, the color. You can see just vibrant orange. Chicken in the woods is also called sulfur shelf due to its color. And move some of these sticks out of here. But chicken in the woods is called chicken in the woods because of its taste and its texture. So it's really firm and it tastes very similar to chicken. So that's where chicken in the woods gets its name. Hen of the woods, on the other hand, is pretty pale in color, and that name comes from the fact that the way that it grows look like a ruffle of chicken feathers. So similar names, very different mushrooms, and hopefully if it keeps raining, I'll be able to come back, try to find some hen of the woods. But chicken in the woods is delicious. So there's here, a little bit on the other side of the tree, so there's a lot more than I need. So I'm gonna take some for personal use and maybe to give to a couple people who I know like mushrooms. And then I'll leave some here as seed, and then if you leave some here, that should mean that next year they will grow here again as well. Alright, so I'm gonna take some of this for personal use, and like most things, the smaller it is, the more tender it's gonna be. So I'm gonna take these smaller bunches, and then I'll leave this bigger one as seed to hopefully produce more for next year. And you can see how just vibrant orange that is. Just give this a good wash when you get it home. Make sure you don't have bugs in it. But very happy to have found this. Good way to come out in nature, spend a few hours just wandering around, and hopefully you can find some edibles. But not what I came looking for, but still very happy to have found it. And that's the other thing too, is generally if you are looking for natural foods, there tends to be several in season at a time. So whether it's mushrooms or berries or whatever else, generally something is going to be in season even if it's not your target species. Alright, so I'm done harvesting. You can see there's still plenty there. That'll be good seed for next year. And then I got a bag full, probably somewhere in the 6 to 8 pound range, which is more than enough for me and to share with a couple of people. And like I said, Chicken of the Woods is named because it tastes like chicken, has a texture like chicken. So any dish you would make with chicken, you can substitute this mushroom and it'll turn out fantastic. Okay, so just on the path here, we have some puffballs. And they're popping up. They're not real big yet, but another week or two and they'll live up to their name of giant puffballs. But just right on the edge of the path. And so this, I just wanted to show, is where some hen of the woods were growing last year. So that's why I knew to look in this area. And they grow at the bases of oak trees, so they're going to be like ground level or just off. The Chicken of the Woods that I just had, I was lucky that it was that low, because that can end up growing really high up where, you know, you couldn't reach it without like a ladder. Hen of the Woods is always going to be like ground level. But just to give a bit of a look around here, you want mature oaks, and that's where you're going to find Hen of the Woods and Chicken of the Woods. And just a bunch more puffballs. So just a hair early on those, but everything else is starting to come around. So today is the 2nd of September. And generally, Chicken of the Woods, Hen of the Woods, giant puffballs, they all come in season in Minnesota anyway. Like late August, early September is generally their prime. This year they might be a little bit later just because we've had drought so bad. But yeah, late August through like the middle of September is kind of the prime time for fall mushrooms. And this is another spot where Hen of the Woods were growing last year. So again, just right on the ground or just above for Hen of the Woods. You might have to look up a little bit to find Chicken of the Woods, but those are bright orange, so a little easier to spot. And then just oaks. Oaks are what you're looking for. So walking around looking for other mushrooms, and here's a uprooted tree, and kind of all over where these roots are, and a little bit up on the base of the trunk there, are what I'm assuming to be some nice fall oyster mushrooms. They're a little bit small yet though, so I'll have to just remember this spot and come back to check them later. But oysters are one of my favorite eating mushrooms. They're absolutely delicious. Usually I find them in the spring rather than the fall, but they can come in either season. But that's exciting. I'll have to come back and hopefully be able to get some of these later. Found some more Chicken of the Woods, so good to see that's coming out in force now. I'm sure it's been just popping since we finally got some rain. So mushrooms are out, and then yeah, I found the oysters you saw. I saw some other ones that were a little bit smaller. So give it another week or two and puffballs and oysters should probably be good to go. And hopefully some of these Hen of the Woods will start to pop, but I have not seen any yet. And then also, when you're walking out in the woods, there's always someone who's been an asshole. So let's clean up after them, because why are you even coming outside if you're going to throw your trash? Here we have a bit bigger of a puffball. Definitely not a giant one yet, but it's going. But as you can see, something took a couple bites out of it, probably a deer, so that one probably won't grow into a usable one, but hopefully some other animals will finish it off. But that's about it. I'm almost out of here, so I have to come back in a couple weeks hopefully and check on those other mushrooms and see if anything new has popped up. But they're starting to be out, so go looking.